Hello everyone, good morning. We're going to get some work done here at the plot today. I want to add the compost that we picked up to some of the beds that I haven't amended yet, and I'm also going to do something new this time, at least new on camera. I have been doing this for a little bit in my backyard this year. I was experimenting and I want to start doing it here too, so it'll be the first time with the plot. But I am going to feed some of my plants with some molasses. Just going to mix that with water, and we're gonna drench the whole thing, the plants and the leaves, and it's gonna get to the soil, and that will also feed the life in the soil too. But more about that once I get to do it, because I need to do that before the sun touches them. I have some sun behind me, but the ranunculus is still shaded, so we're gonna get that done first, and then I'm going to catch up and do everything else that I need to do in the plot. Other than the compost, I also have to trellis the tomatoes, and I have to weed. We have a lot of weeding to do, so let's get started. So I mixed about a few tablespoons of molasses to these 2-gallon watering can, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about why I decided to use molasses in the garden, or to feed the garden with molasses. So molasses is high in calcium, magnesium, iron, and potassium, and many other micronutrients, and from what I've learned, it doesn't only feed the plants or as a foliar feed like I'm doing right here, so I'm getting the leaves of the plants wet also, which then they'll be able to absorb the nutrients from the molasses that I'm applying. But also, once it falls in the soil, because I'm drenching in here, it will also help feeding the microorganisms that are there. And that's very important, because those microorganisms, that soil life, is actually what makes the nutrients available for your plants to take. I listened to a very good podcast that actually explains all of this, and I'm going to put a link to it in the description box down below. I have shared this link before in another video that I was amending the soil here at the plot before I did a lot of the planting. So if you're curious and if you haven't listened to that yet, I highly recommend that you take some time to listen, because it has really good information in there, including how doing this can help with pest control, because when you boost the overall health of your plant, it makes it less prone to pests, because pests are kind of like the cleanup crew of nature. They used to tend to attack the plants that are not very healthy. So if you get your plant as healthy as it can be, it will be more pest resilient too. So I'm also applying this to these other plants behind here. Those are the feverfew. I noticed some spotted lanternfly nymphs on them and some aphids, so I wanted to also give it a little boost. And I'm going to apply the molasses here too. I have been kind of neglecting this little patch a bit because they're perennials, and I did not amend the soil in this region. And because I didn't have water in the plot into this week, I haven't been watering them as well either. So I think they're not as strong as they could be. That's why they're so prone to pests at this moment. And I found some leaf hoppers on these guys too, which was also kind of a problem in the garden last year. We had tons of them last year. It was kind of hard to control. So now that I'm seeing them in here, I'm starting to get a little worried, but then I listen to this podcast and I'm a bit more hopeful, because now I can work on increasing the health of my plants instead of trying to kill the pests. Okay, so it's actually later in the day. I got interrupted this morning and couldn't finish filming the video. We're gonna go ahead and work on adding those compost bags to the soil right now, and hopefully I'm still going to have time to do the trellising of the tomatoes. I just realized that I'm going to need garden staples to do the trellis system that I was thinking to do, and I don't have a lot, so I can at least start it and show you guys what my thoughts are and how I want to do it this year. And once I get more staples, I could just finish everything up. So I'm adding this compost bag to this bed over here. It is still a little sunny in this area specifically, but that's okay. It's been really hot here in New York this week. That's why I think all of the ranunculus bloomed so much as it did at one time, but that's okay. I'm not complaining. I come from the tropics and I actually really enjoy the heat. So I have 3 bags today, and I want to put some of these on my left side over here too, where I planted the corn. It has already sprouted, but I think I might use a whole bag in here. Actually, I should weed first before I do this. Let me go get my little tool to weed this real quick before I add the compost, and we're gonna be back to putting this in the soil. So I'm just going to use this tool over here today so I can weed while I am standing up. This makes it very easy, but I don't want to put compost in here on top of the weeds, so then I could possibly boost the weed growth instead of, suppressing them and making a nice space for my other bed. I decided that I'm going to plant okra in here, and then maybe some other things, but I have a few okra seedlings that I have pre-sprouted at home that I want to put in here, but I wanted to get this all amended now. There's some weeds over there on the path over here too, and lots on the eggplant, so I'm gonna go just try to get all of this done right now before I put the compost. Alright, I might actually have added a little bit of compost to this bed. I can't remember at this moment, but looked like a little barky, as if it had some sort of wood mulch or a little coarser piece of compost in here. But I'm still going to put some more because I have some. I don't take the weeds off the soil, leave it in there. They're just going to die back and feed back, and get the nutrients all back in the soil again. So I'm gonna do this bed over here, and I'm definitely going to add some to this corn over here that have just sprouted. It's a little hard to see with the light here, but it's looking a little nicer right now. I'm going to water this in a minute once the sun is not here anymore. I was going to do all of that in here, that's why I opened the bag this way, but I'm going to add some to this little other patch that I have here with the native plants, because I have not amended the soil in there also, and I think adding a little boost of nutrients is going to be beneficial. So I'm just going to sprinkle some around in here too. Now, since the plants are kind of already grown, just going to kind of go around and throw some there in the soil, get some more nutrients in here as well. After I learned about that pest control thing with healthy plants, I wanted to try to give it a better chance to these plants here, because this guy here, for instance, is already getting some powdery mildew, and I saw some lanternfly nymphs. There you go, they're here still on it also. So I'm just going to actually weed this a bit too, because I usually don't weed this area so much with this plant, which is a bee balm, a Monarda bee balm. It's not doing very great, so I'm gonna try to help her out a bit, clearing out some of the space down here, and also adding some compost around the base of the plant. See if she'll be able to recover. I know, compost is actually not fertilizer. Compost also feeds the microbes in the soil, so just trying to boost the soil life in here also. And I should probably add some molasses a little later, since I had to come back here. I didn't bring the molasses with me this time, but I will make a note to bring it tomorrow. Maybe can do a little bit of the foliar-free drenching in this bed as well. And behind here there's some eucalyptus that is kind of yellowing. It survived the winter. It overwintered from last year, but it's not looking super healthy, so I want to put some compost on the base of this plant too. And I need to prop up this bachelor button that's falling all over the place. But let me put the compost on the eucalyptus first, so you guys can see a little bit of it at least. Hopefully that will help. The one I have in my backyard is a lot greener and looking a lot stronger, so I just think this one is looking a little hungry. Alright, so I got some twine over here. I have a couple kinds, but I'm going to save this for tomatoes, I think. And I'm going to use this guy to prop up this bachelor button here. I just want to tie it to the back of this. The larkspur that's behind this is going to be okay. I'm just going to tie it here first. Then I'm going to come around and time here. So I planted this bachelor button here last year in the fall. I think I have a video about it, even though the gardening season was not great last year. But I was planning to probably leave it here for the pollinators, maybe cut some, but it's looking kind of wonky because I left to be and it sort of grew inside. But let's see if it will adjust and prop back up. I was going to just take it away, but I didn't have the heart to it. I want to keep it in here because the bees also love it, and I might have to take that big gorge over there. So I'm gonna try to see if I can just give it a little support and it'll kind of correct itself. This flower here broke, so I'm just gonna take care of. I am not going to add any more compost. I think that one bag was enough. it's better to save to see if we're gonna need more for the other side. And if we have extra, then I can put some extra in here. But most of the beds here are now amended. And for the tomatoes in here, I think I want to use this twine because it's a little bit sturdier. This one is too fine, even though this one's green, but I guess that's okay. And what I'm trying to do, I'm gonna get up here to show you guys. I'm going to try to run a string from here to there and then get the tomatoes up that way. So easier if I show you guys than try to explain. So let's see if what I have been thinking would actually work first. I was thinking to put it to here. Maybe I'll do 2 layers. I'll actually put it up here because it does need to be tall. And that's gonna go, I'm gonna put all the way up here. Okay, and then I can cut it already. What if I can put all the way to this guy? That would be super tall. Maybe I'll do that. And then from there, I want to run strings down to the tomatoes and then secure them here with the landscapes table. Sorry that the film is not too good today. This is difficult to actually film and do things at the same time using a little bucket as a tripod. But I think you guys will get the hang of it. So I'm going to get the staple over here and just tie this knot. I'll do the staple first. Stapler, I'm not sure. Garden staple. And put it down right next to the tomato here where I'm going to trellis. Let's see where this is going. So it's better if I come from the back actually. So I'll put it here. And then we're gonna lift this up and attach to the top of that one that I just hung. Alright, I think that's good. So, one is done. Hopefully you guys can see it from there. I had to put the camera a little far. Okay. And I'm going to do another one here and another one here. Okay, that's cool. I think I really like that. So this is them attached with this green wire. It comes all the way down to the tomato and gets to the bottom here with the stapler. You guys can finally see a close-up shot. So the stapler is attached here. And I'm just going to give a quick demo to you guys real quick. It's how I'm going to trellis them up. So first, I'd like to remove these bottom leaves. Okay, I'm gonna use my pruners for this time. Just gonna cut here. Here I'm also removing the suckers, which is this little guy over here growing in this corner. I will explain later why I do that. But if you have been seeing my videos, you know that I usually try to prune them. I'll do one more. Okay, these leaves are all healthy. They don't have any blemishes or they don't have any pest damage, so I'm gonna leave them in the ground to help feeding back the soil to kind of mulch in here also. So now that this plant looks like this, how I'm gonna trellis it is actually I'm gonna get this thing and twist around it. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. I think so. So, oh, this one already has a big sucker and some little fruit stuff over there. So actually I'm gonna remove this guy, this big sucker over here. So this one grew in between those two arms, and I know that this is the main stem because there's some fruit attached to it. You could leave this in here and try to grow to 2 main stems, but since I'm doing this trellising method, I only have 1 twine, so I'm gonna cut this here. And this is over here, this little guy, actually can be rooted. So what variety is this? This is a striped German. If we put this in water, you get some roots in here, and then you can get a brand new plant and just replant this in the garden. So that one is secure, and I'm not gonna do the rest now. It's hard to do with one hand and holding the camera, but I just wanted to show you guys how to do one. And then when I get more staples, I'll come back and do all of these other plants over here and all of these remaining ones over there. That's my tripod bucket. All right, now let's just get that compost watered in, and we're going to be done for today. All right, so all the compost is watered in. I'm going to now go ahead and water the rest of the garden because it's been very hot today, but I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching today. If you have any questions about anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. and I'll see you next time.